Hello and welcome to Dice Punks, a tabletop role-playing podcast where we focus on playing full campaigns in less well-known systems. This week in episode 34, our heroes try to get to the bottom of a death they are pretty sure they didn't directly cause. Hello and welcome. I'm Adam, your friendly neighborhood game master, and joining me are...
Hello, I'm Drew, and I'll be playing Leorian Qatar. I realized actually I was the Baron of Nothing, but I upped my domain, so I'm something else. What am I now? I believe now I am. Am I the Viscount of Nothing? Or not Nothing. I wish. Oh boy, that's blasphemous. I shouldn't allow myself. What I'm the Viscount of is Tempo. Nothing. Whew. Maybe someday. I don't know.
I'm Robin, and I'll be playing Alyssa Crate, the daring, darling, dark diva, and furious queen.
I'm Dez, and I will be playing Ramnet,
Directly.
the Duke of Murder. But I didn't cause this one. Probably.
The Duke of most murders. Yeah.
I'm responsible for murders, even if I don't cause them. Like, let's be real here.
Sure, totally.
Yeah, and that's actually canon. That was your divination into the deaths in...
into the chancel deaths, as we actually know now.
We'd fear a world where, nobles could be put on trial, because you bear significant responsibility for all murders, but, luckily, there's no court system that can drag you in at this point.
Someone has to, and yes, you are correct that there is no jurisdiction that can hold me.
Well, I think that brings us to Robnet's XP roll for this session.
Yep.
Which will partly determine whether or not we have any expenditure.
That is a pair of 7s.
That is sufficient. Give yourself an XP. So,
and then I will spend it all.
What?
Indeed.
Okay, that was 50 mortal XP total for me.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, wait. Can't be...
Okay.
You mean like lifetime accrual?
Yeah.
Okay.
Total.
You have gotten 50 XP. You didn't just have 50
Correct. XP. No, I'm just going to up all my stats one. I'm going to up one of them 5. Doesn't work like that.
Unfortunately. But you can spend your 6 mortal XP on what?
I am going to up one of my dice for lie from a normal die all the way to an expert die. Or not an expert die, a master die.
Indeed. By way of an expert die.
Indeed.
Hence the 6 XP expenditure. So that will bring your lie pool to 4 plus a master die.
Not this week.
Which isn't too bad. Any other expenditures this time? Right.
Yeah, not here either. I'm going to hoard my nuts for what may be our last winter around these parts.
It does his face, viewers.
Hoard away.
That was a weird turn of phrase. I fully
just lots.
Alyssa, I believe you have our summary last time to get us all back up to speed.
As a general rule, I'm not fond of woods. So many things to hit your head on, and not to mention the spider webs waylaying you at every turn. The God's Woods, as it turns out, is no exception. Not so much with the head hitting and the spider webs yet. Anyway, it's the rule, not the exception when it comes to my general disdain for woods. Even if I hugged a tree, a decision I regretted after seeing the specters all around us. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Thralda, Leorian, Ramnet, and I made our way to the Godswood. Due haste after Fewa suggested that we may find clues about the overgod there. And after Dosk, hallowed be thy name, deposited us there. Thralda was in their usual chipper spirits. I managed to find some connective tissue with them, I think, in our mutual fondness of the Forge, though I got an entirely unnecessary lecture about the destructive costs of the dissonance between me and my domain. I'm not sure why all these gods and demigods think that I lack the mettle to wield fury, but I'm choosing not to let it make me furious, since they don't know the multitudes that I contain. And speaking of fury, I divined for it within the Godswood, and some aeons ago found a universe of fury that made all the other fury I've experienced feel like a single star in the cosmos. After resolving that it was best to stick to the path by night, Gromnet decidedly had other plans. Of course, I didn't realize this at first, and thought that my friend was repeatedly blipping in and out of existence and possibly in grave danger. So I put Leorian on my back, made myself miraculously capable, and sprinted after Romnet. I could only imagine what ancient chronologies he saw while slipping through hidden metaphysical paths in the woods in interdimensional pursuit of the Overgod. Before catching up with Romnet's binary appearances in my sight, I tripped over a fabled Godswood artifact that the woods seemed to have put in my path. Holding it in my hands, I felt something tug on my shard. Promptly decided that I probably shouldn't have been holding it. But that experience inspired me to do another divination, asking what happened to make Fury its own shard. And, briefly, I was everything, everywhere, all at once. It was dizzying. It was wonderful. I never felt so whole and complete and omnipotent. And then there was a shattering. Before I could fully shake off the delicious sensation of godhood or ponder how everything shattered into everything, we were bounced out of the depths of the forest and back to the path, only to discover Thoralda's body, their gaping ribcage bereft of a heart, and their shard. So let's recap for those keeping score. So far, Romnet has concealed his status as a noble, accidentally unmade Lurenton via murder, and run off on his own in a very dangerous area, resulting in the noble of the Forge being presumably eaten. I just hope it wasn't by a giant spider.
Marvelous, thank you. And that is exactly where we rejoin our Nobilis this time, is standing in small hours of the night on the road in the middle of the Godswoods, over the rapidly cooling corpse of the Nobilis of the Forge, Thoralda, sans one heart. One of the things that becomes a little bit obvious in looking at this is that, the shards don't exist physically in the body, but nevertheless, looking at Thoralda's body, you can tell that it is without its shard. In fact, you can even tell just at a glance that Thoralda is not without their shard because they have died, but rather that they have died because they are without their shard. It is kind of noetic. Some part of you knows this when you gaze at the corpse. And that's where we rejoin, everybody having been booted to this spot on the road.
Are they, okay?
Manifestly not.
No, definitely the opposite. If I use my sight, I want to kind of look with the sight and also do lesser divination of fury to see if I see anything using either filter that is of interest.
I suppose you might feel the distant residue of a momentary flash of fury originating from Thoralda prior to their death. The site doesn't really give you any new information. Because, yeah, you just see and a vacant body.
I am going to approach them. I know that they had their accoutrement from the forge still on them. So I'm going to put their hammer and then a file, if I can find it in either hand, and then fold their arms over as best I can without touching anything, but also kind of to cover their wound. And if their eyes aren't already closed, I'm going to close them.
Their eyes are indeed not already closed, so you do that, and you arrange them in a more dignified, stately manner. Yeah.
I'm also going to take my ingot of bloodstone from their pockets. Do I find anything else of interest while I'm poking around?
That is an excellent question.
Greyhawk the body. Damn.
A tasteful loot is what we're going to call this.
A respectful pillaging.
These are all getting awkwardly euphemistic here.
I'm going to thoroughly search those pockets.
Yes.
So you do get your bloodstone ingot back. Most of what Thoralda has on them is their forge tools, large and small, mostly in sort of a tool belt, but there are also a number of pouches and vials sort of in pockets and pouches, around their person, things like lime, coke, and sulfur in sort of powdered forms. There's a small amount of an unfamiliar currency, and
I'll take 2 coins from that unfamiliar currency and put it over their eyes, and then step away.
They're made of iron, which is not a metal that is typically used for currency in Taraxis. Leorian, Ramnet, anything in particular?
No.
Can I perform a lesser divination of tempo to see how long they've been dead, since time is a little squishy where we just were?
Give me the exact phrasing of your question to your estate.
Sure. How long has this person been as dead as they currently are?
Art. However, your estate does not answer, as this does not bear on tempo. It's,
Hint.
Possible.
They're not getting any deader.
Yeah, there is the possibility that with a greater divination you could get some information, but as there is not a recurring rhythm of death here. You are bereft of knowledge.
I suppose
Luckily,
I will
we have
ask
an expert.
my estate then. So was it murder?
And that is your exact question.
Oh yes.
Okay, just making sure. Yes, it is murder.
By whom?
You can divine the presence of a perpetrator, but you cannot divine the identity of the perpetrator in exactly the way that lets you know it is because the perpetrator is possessed of an Octoritas.
Someone or something with an Octoritas did it.
This is completely out of character, but I like the phrase possessed of rather than in possession of.
It's a very good turn of phrase. I love it.
It's evocative. And I can't help but think meaningful. Well, that seems like bad news.
All the more reason why we shouldn't split up in the dangerous Godswood. I look at Ramnet.
I have now shrugged twice in sequence, dear listeners.
Maybe from here on out we stick together though. I mean, it might be my good and smoky lord better if we that way we won't be
Thank
murdered.
you, Leorian, and have our shard ripped out. Like the forge just was. It's just gone.
Yeah, how does that? I mean, it's not the most important thing right now, but can people still forge?
Impulsively,
I suspect the shard of the sword or of the forge still exists.
all the same, I impulsively reach for Electo. Okay.
Electo is there.
That pause was entirely unnecessary. Good sir.
I thought there was going to be more to the question, or to the action, rather. I thought it was going to be, I reached for Electo and so I was waiting for the
just
rest of it.
touching my hand.
Plus,
It was
all you've established is that, like, hammers still exist, or at least your hammer does.
And so does Theralda's.
Well, it's good that hammer still exists.
I was going to say, you know that at least two hammers still exist.
That is not nothing.
I'm just going to start touching everything that I'm wearing on my person that I've ever forged. Checking my rings, checking the baubles in my hair, checking my earrings, checking... Okay.
It's all there.
I try not to breathe an audible sigh of relief.
Can I inquire about a motive for the murder? Or rather, I do inquire. Why was he murdered?
I guess my question is are you attempting to apply any penetration to these divinations now that you know that there's an Arctoritas involved?
Up to a degree that it's still free.
Okay. So your domain is 4. A lesser divination is a level 2 miracle, so you can have 2 penetration.
Sure.
And still have it be free. So you're inquiring as to the motive.
Yep.
Let's see, for a lesser divination, acting under orders.
Whose?
You run up against the Arctoritas problem. Even with 2 penetration.
I mean, 2 penetration, like, that's fine. That's a moderately spirited nobilis and nothing more.
Mm-hmm.
We are actively dealing in pissing off gods and greater things. So,
have you...
I mainly brought it to the attention that it appears that the first answer concerned one entity with weak enough Arctoritas, and the second answer concerned a different stronger Arctoritas.
Have you tried to ask where the murderer is? With penetration?
No, largely because that doesn't really seem to fall within murder. I mean, sure, where's the murderer?
This falls into the sort of thing that would probably require a major divination. What you can get from a lesser divination with 2 penetration, though, is that the murderer is in Taraxis.
The points may be worth spending here.
I don't really think they are.
Possibly a leading question, but Leorian, what are you doing during this discussion?
I am impulsively fiddling with my lute, careful not to strum so long that it would create a dart. And I am watching Romnet work, and I may be learning nothing, but after my own divination didn't bear fruit, I'm trying to learn from someone more experienced than myself.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to make me a roll.
That is so like you.
It is kind of my job.
How dare thee?
I am going to ask you to roll a sense plus sight, which is 4 dice for you.
I can do that. That is a pair of 10s.
Well done. So Romnet and Lissa are mostly looking at each other and at Theralda, during all of this. You are looking at Romnet, but the angle that you are looking at Romnet from also gives you a view of down the road, further into the Godswoods, if your sense of direction hasn't betrayed you, which you honestly have no idea if it has or not. And you see movement. In fact, you see people. Not clearly, due to the, darkness. But you're pretty sure that you see two people. Now, in one case, very, very easy to describe, from this distance, what you see is a large, broad-shouldered, tall silhouette, probably wearing some sort of draped garment. In the second case, though, you can see remarkably well from this distance in this light, especially as they are approaching you. And so what I'm going to need you to do is to describe briefly, and as abstractly as you wish, Leorian, what does the most beautiful person possible look like to you?
The most beautiful person possible. Perhaps their gender's not clear, but their hair is long. They move in a rhythm. They're dark but bright. They're tall but not intimidatingly so. It makes me uncomfortable. They move with a grace, but a grace of the earth, not a grace of the heavens.
That is what you think when you see this person. They are walking towards you alongside this more hulking, less distinct figure.
I resist the urge to call out, but I quietly gesture to my companions, and I approach in what I hope is a somewhat surreptitious manner, but I am terrified of losing this person.
So, presuming that you, detect Leorian's sort of gesture here, you will see.
It's probably not as subtle as I think it is. It's probably more like sneaking. It's,
your attention called to the road, both of you see much more clearly. The figure on your left is over 6 feet tall, certainly, very broad-shouldered, barrel-chested, sort of a mop of shortish, curly hair, and well-defined features, and then sort of draped in a sort of loose robe, and moving with a sort of shuffle, like a fairly insecure-seeming gait. The second figure, though, I will need descriptions from both Romnet and Lissa of the most beautiful possible person, because that is what you will see walking next to this larger robed figure.
I do a double take because they look like in short succession a few people that I've known. And then I ask if they have sharp teeth too, Leorian.
The question hadn't occurred to me. I think for a moment, then I say, yes.
I love how you timed that for when Adam was drinking.
And Romnet, what do you say?
Nothing, because Dusk is not a person anymore.
And yet you are aware that there is a person there. But this also tells you, fairly concretely that something is up. The pair approaches, and sort of slows as they approach. They, to those with the ability to see you better in the dark, appear to have been, sort of speaking to each other and then have stopped, as they have drawn closer. And they stop drawing closer, let's call it 20 feet from where you stand gathered around Thoralda's corpse. And they don't initially say anything. They just stop and kind of look at you.
Did you see anyone going that way by any chance? Sorry, we're a little rattled. Our friend is, well, you could see, my name's Lissa. You are?
The larger figure gives a small bow and says in a resonant but not all that deep voice, "I'm Truth." And looks perfectly serious while they say it.
You're hitting us with this duo. I love it.
I know what's happening here.
And the other figure says, again, in whatever voice each individual person would find most appealing, and with the greeting that each individual person would find most appealing. And I'm called Adliova.
I don't think this is an appropriate time to go get drinks, but I appreciate the invitation. I'm sorry, you just look like a lot of people that not going to finish that sentence. We're just we lost our traveling companion. It's advisable that you don't stray off the path and stick together.
To be quite specific, they lost a part, which was necessary. It's beautiful. I mean, good. I mean, lovely. I mean, exquisite to make your acquaintance. And may I say, as a musician, it's lovely to know that the two of you get along.
Truth and Adeliova look at each other briefly, and then look at Leorian, and Truth says, well, you're very kind, and seems kind of bashful about it, whereas perhaps unsurprisingly, Adeliova's manner and comportment depends entirely on who is looking. But Adeliova asks, if it isn't uncouth to inquire, who were they?
Their name was Thoralda, and their domain was the Forge.
Truth gasps. And whatever each person is seeing of Adeliova, you can detect a sort of grimace. Neither says anything further, though. And they have not moved closer.
I attempt to compose myself. It's how rude of me specifically. Hello, my name is Leorian. I am the Viscount of Tempo. It's a pleasure. I believe I already said that.
Adeliova just nods graciously, whereas Truth says, "Oh, I'm sure the pleasure is all ours."
Romnet, what brings the two of you here?
Truth goes, "Oh, well," and then Adeliova cuffs them gently on the back of the head. And Truth goes, "Right, sorry. I'm supposed to be a little more wary around strangers. Not good at it."
My eyes light up.
Secret missions are all well and good.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, what he said. Of course. Subtlety. subterfuge.
Adeliova says, I feel relatively safe assuming that you are here under similar auspices as few mortals walk the God's woods at midnight for any reason, and, well, the area has not been heavily trafficked by our kind in quite some time either.
Hard to say whether we travel under similar auspices.
We certainly travel under friendly auspices, the circumstances in which you found us, notwithstanding.
The auspices are very friendly among the three of us. Not so much, yeah.
Truth looks down at Theralda and says, always sad when someone's subjected to the red tooth rite.
The red tooth, right?
Adeliova sort of does one of these with their hand on their forehead, and Truth goes, "Oh, well, it's you can consume a noble's heart to get some measure of their power. It's pretty ghastly, and it's usually, when I've heard of it being done, it's a noble who's about to die and a mortal who wishes to take up their mantle will, by invitation, almost all the time, consume their heart. It's infrequent, though, and this doesn't look like that's what
excuse
happened.
me for a moment, and I hold up a finger and manage to barely get myself behind a tree, near the path before you hear dramatic vomiting sounds.
Poor Alyssa.
I speak louder than I normally would to cover the vomiting sounds. That seems the only kind thing I can do at the moment. I say, invitation. The invitation of the one being eaten or someone else's?
Oh, well, it's usually the one being eaten. If they're not going to survive whatever happened to them, they'll pass on their domain to, a mortal. Sometimes by happenstance, usually like a chosen person, an anchor, maybe. They'll be like, I'm not going to make it. You should eat my heart. And so then they do. But this seems
I'm
different.
watching Adeliova's reactions to all of this.
Very muted. The hand has come off the forehead, and they have sort of marshaled their composure. Truth sort of continues to explain. It's sometimes the Imperator instructs the mortal to eat the heart. And on very rare occasions, another Nobilis will eat the heart to gain power, but it's pretty rare. I mean, sometimes a domain will lend itself to that kind of thing, but it doesn't happen often. And it's pretty taboo, and it's not clear that they always get the shard. Sometimes they just get power and the shard goes back to the Imperator, so it's kind of risky, especially since the Imperator is probably going to be kind of mad that you ate their noble. And at that point, Truth seems to realize that Adeliova is kind of waiting for them to stop talking and goes, I'm sorry. And Adeliova just sort of graciously waves a hand and says, pray tell, though, how did you come upon this unfortunate circumstance?
Well, we were traveling together, and then we were separated, I say, definitely not looking at Romnet. And when we reunited, this unfortunate, this ghastly turn of events had already transpired. We did not see the deed done. Indeed, we know not whom or why. The wherefore and the perpetrator are utterly, we're a little shaken up. We've never seen this whole red tooth situation before.
I reappear and sheepishly wipe my mouth off with my hand and sorry. Yeah, what Leorian said, it was a shock coming back and seeing them like this.
Truth nods glumly, and Adeliova frowns gracefully.
And they were just the nicest, you know.
You're gonna have to roll for that, aren't you?
Wow, dude.
I think I'm not a good liar. Hold on, let me check.
I guess
no,
that's
I'm not a
be
good liar.
my
Let me
question is that I would assume that Leorian is lying there. I didn't imagine that Leorian thought of Thoralda as being particularly nice, but I guess that's
in his head. It has more to do with graces than lies, but it is a lie. So I mean, I'll happily roll that.
Yeah, you should probably roll your pool of 2 for a lie.
See how this goes. Remarkably, that's 2 10s.
So what's funny about this is that it's not exactly a secret to tell you that you come off very sincere, and Adeliova probably believes you, but it is a little bit futile to lie to truth. And when you say that, you know, Adeliova just sort of like nods with sympathy, the kind of nod you get at a funeral, you know, whereas Truth kind of frowns down at the corpse and says nothing.
I can probably read this. I say, you shouldn't speak ill of the
Truth.
dead, right? I mean, that's what I've always...
Are you as you were
Yeah.
named?
Oh, yeah. Once I was ennobled, I kind of couldn't go by anything else. It took a little getting used to, and people aren't always real understanding about it, but I've gotten used to it.
Sure. Ennoblement is not always kind.
It's not.
Oh, no, you should see some of the ones. And then Truth stops and goes,
I will
"That's
just...
probably not polite."
I have seen.
Oh, yeah.
I am, after all, thinking of Imbi.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is not too deep an impoliteness or an indiscretion, what are you responsible for? I will ask this of Adeliova.
Why, beauty.
That is
I knew it. I'm
Quite- quite radiant.
I was louder than I...
Mm.
Yeah, quite. Yeah,
But-
what
both
my
of
Furious
you
Queen
make
said. Yeah.
perfect sense. This whole time I'm kind of keeping my eyes cast down from Adeliova.
Why, thank you. Truth kind of goes, well, like, so I don't want to be, like, rude, but who sent you here? Sorry. It just kind of need to know, you know?
That's fair. Can you promise that you hold no ill will towards them?
Oh, I mean, I guess it depends on who it is, right? Like,
I suppose the greater question is, does your behavior toward us depend on who sent us here and why?
Truth takes a breath to speak and then looks at Adeliova and then kind of like sighs and goes, oh, never mind. This is all real complicated.
Well, here, let's try this. You can tell that I'm telling the truth when I say that I have absolutely no interest in embracing you as anything but a friend.
Truth sort of nods slowly and goes, yeah, okay. So, but like, you know that there's a war, right?
I do. And my party here is disinterested in it.
Oh. Huh. Then... Oh. And Truth sort of looks down and trails off again. And Adeliova says, that's as may be, but your imperators may be more interested in it.
We have a fairly loose leash, and one imperator that is sympathetic to our disinterest.
And yet you are here in the Godswoods now, with a heartless corpse of a noble. You can understand
not
my
our
reservations.
doing, and truly test us. Good.
I will hold out a hand so that Truth can waive my auctoritas on this statement.
Mm-hmm.
I give you my word as the Duke of Murder that I did not do this.
Truth actually chuckles and goes, that's very funny. Yeah, not as such, no. No, Adeliova, they didn't kill them.
We did leave them, and that is something that I deeply regret. I thought they were with me.
Well, and it's like they're telling the truth, but also I'm still nervous about it for some reason. And Adeliova just sort of reaches up and pats Truth on the shoulder very gently and goes, it's okay. I think I might have a clue. In the meantime, where are you headed?
We're not sure exactly. We're here because we're trying to figure out how the shards became shards, and if there's a way to end the war peacefully.
End it, we hasten to add, without someone conquering. That seems unnecessary, indeed disastrous. We seek another path.
Adeliova looks thoughtful, but Truth gets kind of wide-eyed and like goes a little blank for a minute and then goes, oh, well, that's an interesting proposition. And then looks at Adeliova, who goes, interesting, but a little
naive,
quixotic. Still, I trust that you are not out to get us, and there is obviously risk gesturing at Thoralda's body, and says, "Perhaps you would like to accompany one another a little further into the wood."
What brings you here? That reciprocity hasn't quite been established.
Adeliova sort of, holds up a hand to forestall Truth answering and says, "I suspect it is similar to what brings you here. There is power here, and our Imperator wished to investigate it." Truth nods and goes, "Yeah."
And who is yours?
Truth looks at Adeliova, and Adeliova nods. And Truth says, the Lady Celiand, is that good?" And Adeliova kind of, makes a gesture and says, "Our Lady is Queen of many things, truth and beauty among them." And gives a smile that one gives when one is reciting the company line. And doesn't wish to conceal it.
Is there something I can roll to maybe have heard of her in mortal travel and practice?
Well, if you wish to roll lore, that's your best bet.
Yep.
That's going to be 6 dice.
3 10s.
You have never heard the name before in your life, nor any reference to this person.
Yep.
I, for one, would not be opposed to venturing further together. I'm not sure what we should do with them. I've tried to arrange them in a way that they might have found appealing, but it still feels insufficient. Is there some tradition or ritual or something for fallen noble?
Truth speaks up, and Adeliova makes no effort to hush them. Truth says, "Well, there's nothing that can be done here for the burial practices of Narim and Thoralda's homeland. What you've done is, I think, is about as much as anyone could. And if we leave them just off the road, then, well, the Godswoods will take care of them without any scavengers or anything. It's not as ceremonial or dignified a burial as they would get back home, but I think it's the best we can do for them without traveling there."
You knew them?
No. But everything I just said was true.
You knew of them? But you...
No. I just...
Oh, you just...
know true things when
I understand now. That's a handy skill. Would you mind helping me move them? I no offense to my companions, but I think you and I are best for the task.
No, I'd be happy to. And so Truth helps you move Thoralda to sort of a hollow between roots of a large and dignified looking tree just off the path.
So as Thoralda is laid down, I perform a ghost miracle. So whatever process the Godswoods are going to act upon this body, I make them happen just a little more fast, a little more quickly, and therefore a bit more dignified. I raise my hand unnecessarily, as I've somehow decided Dosk would do. Hala would be the echoing empty chamber of his empty name, and make that occur.
All right. And so it doesn't dramatically speed up the process. It's not like the ground opens up and swallows Thoralda, but you do feel it take. What's interesting is You are aware of the forest's Octoritas, but it allows your miracle to take hold. You can actually...
I thank it, probably wordlessly.
There is, a couple beats of silence there, and then Truth clears their throat. I should probably start going. Probably. Sorry. Our listeners will not be able to see this, but I do a small amount of acting while I am doing these characters, and I wanted to point out, in case it hadn't come across in the narration of the performance yet, that pretty much any time when I am doing Truth, I'm looking down and to the left at my desk, and that's pretty much what Truth is doing at all times, is sort of like looking at like the ground or people's knees. For the most part.
Ironically, body language experts on TikTok would say that Truth is
Yes.
lying at all times.
I mean, Truth just appears to be browbeaten and, like, continuously unsure of himself.
Wonder why.
This is possibly a manufactured state.
I guess we should proceed then. There's not a lot of sense in staying put here where clearly something horrible happened.
Indeed not. And Adeliova takes the lead, walking in whatever manner the viewer finds most attractive down the path ahead of everyone.
I am devastated, and I follow.
So everybody starts moving, and you think, each of you, that you are proceeding in the same direction that you were going in prior to leaving the path. But it is not entirely clear what the destination might be. And for the first couple minutes, unless one of you speaks up, there's going to be silence. So if there's anything in particular that you would like to talk about, either with Truth or Adeliova or amongst yourselves, not a bad time.
I feel like this is a great opportunity to ask Truth to know, since they obviously can know things without drinking or being there. I feel like this is a great opportunity to ask him questions. And
You and I were thinking exactly the same thing. Yeah.
I'm coming up blank because I don't ask them personal questions that I can answer myself.
If there is a somewhat longer silence, I open in the stupidest way possible by saying, so do you know everything? Or only things you think about?
Oh, well, it's a little embarrassing, but I'm not a viscount or a duke or a baron. I'm a pawn of my estate. So I know things that my estate wants me to know, or things that I use a miracle to know. That's what I did earlier for the burial practices. It seemed important, so I had to use power on it.
Thank you.
In order to know it. But I can know anything that's true, so long as I have the juice, you know?
That was very kind of you to use a miracle for Thoralda, so you have my gratitude.
Well, you're welcome. It's what I would want someone to do for me in the same situation. So
which we won't let happen.
It only seemed right. Truth makes eye contact with you for the first time and says, "Thank you." And then looks back down.
I will ask how far they've traveled to get to Taraxis.
almost before you finished answering the question, Truth goes in a somewhat more energetic tone of voice. More than halfway around the world. Sorry. Sometimes my estate does that. It's a long way, but we didn't walk the whole way. We had, other ways of traveling. I can use my estate to find optimal paths, among other things. So
Fascinating.
It's gone quickly.
That's an amazing distance to travel. I thought we had traveled far when we discovered a new land. But more than halfway around the world is truly far to be away from your home.
Truth nods, and Adaleova says, "We find ourselves at home in many places due to our natures, but you are not wrong. It has been long."
I do my best to keep eye contact with them as they speak.
Your Imperator's name is unknown in these lands, at least to my awareness.
Adaleova nods and says, "That is probably by design. An Imperator with truth in their portfolio might be vulnerable if widely known."
And beauty, too.
Perhaps.
And yet we have a great deal of beauty, even a measure, I would hope, of truth here in Taraxis.
Oh yes. All Imperator's touch is everywhere. Who is your master, if you don't mind my asking?
I am vibrating to answer, but I look over to both Lissa and
I will wave in
"Should
approximately the same fashion, making eye contact with Adaleova.
Oblivious to Ramnet, will answer, "We're all here in one way or the other because of the Obsidian God."
And Adaleova looks to Truth, who goes, they are darkness and revelry and, well, murder and fury. And then Truth sort of shakes himself and says, and there's always more. And Adaleova sort of nods and says, "Very dramatic."
Oh yeah, like a jumped up theater troupe.
I make eye contact with Adaleova and say, "Don't let the theatrics scare you off," and wink.
Adaleova, their face sort of shifting mid-expression, gives you a dazzling smile and returns the wink in sort of the perfect balance of, like, gracious and flirtatious. Your heart beats a little faster.
It sure do.
Do be that way.
Truth, if I may, and if you can, this war. I struggle for a moment, I gesticulate, and then I simply say, "Why?"
Truth pauses, cocks their head one way and then the other, and says, "I don't think I have enough juice to get a miraculous answer, but
I think my friend was inquiring as to a personal answer rather than a statement of truth, as it were."
Oh, well, I'm mostly doing what Lady Celiant wants. It is my job and my nature, and also I trust her. And I think she, and this is just me guessing, I haven't scryed for it or anything, and I wouldn't, and looks over at Adeliova saying that Pit. But I think that Lady Celiand thinks that if someone has to take the top spot, then she's a real good option for mortals, you know? No offense.
If someone has to take the top spot,
Yeah.
what if someone didn't have to take the top spot? How do you think your lady would feel about that?
Does seem like the word "if" is doing some work in that construction.
Well, I guess I don't know. It's there, so someone's bound to take it sooner or later, you know? And it would probably be better, right, to have the Imperator of, like, you know, beauty and truth and stuff there than, say, like, the Deep. Have you met those guys?
They're rather
yes.
unfortunate, with the possible exception of a very charismatic whirlpool.
Oh.
I have so many questions for another time.
The thing about beauty and truth is, lovely as they both are, neither are inherently kind.
Oh, well.
So...
No, but...
Unless that is also within your lady's portfolio, mortals may not be ideally suited toward
Truth
that.
cocks their head and is like, I don't think so, but also, I don't know who or where or what's become of the Imperator in charge of kindness. I wouldn't put a lot of money on them being the ones to exceed to the top spot, though, given, you know, kindness and all.
Kindness and weakness, I would say, are different things, but who am I?
No, you're right, but also, to the degree that Imperators reflect their nature, it would put such an Imperator at a disadvantage versus certain other Imperators.
Of course.
I would work for that Imperator.
Sort of seems as though anybody who's in a position to take the top spot is exactly the kind of Imperator you wouldn't want to have it.
Just like in politics.
I mean, it is politics, isn't it? When you get right down to it, until we, you know, melt the throne down to slag.
Adeliova goes, beg pardon?
Nothing. No, I
will turn to
say
look
anything
at Adeliova, and then this seems like it might be an opportune moment, if you have means available to you, to inquire what your lady might think of a world without a throne pulling upward.
Adeliova looks thoughtful. And
I am happy to roll graces to give some sort of social oomph for that. Graces being my stand-in social stat.
Among your stronger suits.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
it would be Fascinate, but yes.
Right, yeah.
Sure.
Because you can use Fascinate instead of Graces with Romantic Outlaw Charm. Yeah. Go ahead and roll it.
1, 2, 10, so 2 10s.
Okay. Yeah, for the listener, that's 3 plus a master die. And Adeliova sort of regards you thoughtfully and says, I think I like you. You are most unique, and your candor is appreciated. However, I don't know that I can really comment over much
Of course.
without consultation.
This is why I was indeed suggesting that.
However,
you can understand why we are all... why we are, some of us here, tight-lipped.
Certainly. However, my associate may be able to give you a little insight. And Truth looks a little bit surprised and goes, "Oh, well, yeah, I think Lady Cillian wouldn't be opposed to an alternative if one could be found. But, well, without expending power, I can't be too sure without consulting my lady. I mean, those are the two options, is talk to her about it or use a miracle that I maybe want to save up some of the power from. But my initial kind of low-level divination on it is that she would probably be open to hearing a case at any rate. Milady won't come here. It's a little exposed, but if once we leave, you wanted to come have an audience, I'm sure she would be happy to talk to you. I can't guarantee you'd get what you want from the conversation, but that's just imperators, right? Adliova says, "I'm afraid that any such communication will have to wait until we're done here. Our task is relatively urgent, but you could help us perform it, and then it would be my pleasure to put you in contact with Our Lady at her earliest convenience."
I suppose, and that sounds like a great plan, honestly, but it's difficult to tell if we can help without knowing more details, even if we're willing.
Mm-hmm. Of course. Well, in that case...
The problems of cooperation.
Indeed. I will extend a little bit more information then. We are here to attempt to, scavenge either material or, if possible, power from the corpse of the previous overgod said to be here in these woods.
I believe we can help with that. We are seeking information about the previous overgod.
Perhaps
they were a rock.
Oh. I'm not sure I followed.
Was that a joke? Sorry.
I will turn towards Truth for an evaluation.
Truth kind of goes, yeah, no, I mean, that's at the very least, you're looking at Adliova, that's at least what he thinks is true, is that
there
was a rock.
A variety of holes in existence, not quite the same as chancels, not quite the same as hidden paths and so on. I am able to walk these things. And falling through one, they seem to come in pairs. I was treated to on the way down it was a retrospective, and then I bounced off of something and came back, and then it was not retrospective, or it was retrospective but playing in order, of scenes from extremely long ago that I was prevented from interacting with by what is to an auctoritas what the heat is after the embers are gone.
Truth gapes at you for a moment and then turns toward Adliova and gives kind of like a, brisk nod. And Adliova says, "Fascinating, thank you for the information. These openings, these... I wonder what they were. Could you show us to one?"
Sure, where's the nearest one?
Good question. I'm going to say off the path to the other side of where you had gone before and ahead by a decent ways.
I will point the direction and
Sure.
start leading the way.
Okay. Yeah, everybody follows, and Adliova asks you questions about the specifics of what you saw. To what degree are you willing to share, like detailed descriptions of the different tableau that you experienced?
I will give generalized descriptions. I will offer some detail, but not all of it. And I will not say that I tried to sacrifice anything.
Okay. She doesn't... Actually, I say she, probably not a she in your view.
Instant case.
Yeah. But Adliova doesn't seem to mind that you are, holding some things back, and expresses gratitude for what you do share. And seems rather avidly interested, occasionally turning to Truth, seemingly not to check if you are telling the truth, but to see if something bears out more broadly. Does your report or perception accord with Truth? And Truth is starting to look a little bit the worse for wear as you go on. Partially it's that the journey itself is relatively taxing, as it's, off-road through old growth forest in what is turning into the early morning as you go. And partially it's probably because some of this is requiring, like miracle points from Truth. Are other two Nobilis anything in particular that you are doing or chatting about as you travel?
Since I don't think I've given them this full report either.
You have not.
Was that the complete thought? What are we doing since you haven't given us the full report? Well,
presumably listening in and getting more information, but
some version of it, yeah.
As we walk, I'm going to look around with the site again and see if anything has shifted with the appearance of the forest.
It's very stable. More so even than like when you look around with the site in a city like Calavan, right? Like any given cobblestone may be made up of several tutelary spirits, or a space of road may be made up of one. Whereas here, each tree is a tutelary spirit that looks like that tree. Every stretch of ground is a tutelary spirit that looks exactly like that stretch of ground. Every object is what it is. On both a prosaic and a spiritual level. The various apparitions are still sort of milling about, and as you are off the road, you're sort of passing by them. They're not really paying you any attention, nor are they paying any particular attention to one another. They seem to drift aimlessly through the trees.
Did I try to talk to any of the tutelary spirits last time, or was I greeted by a Octoritas?
Tutelary spirits, I don't think you did.
Would it be divination of some variety if I asked the nearest tutelary spirits what happened here ages ago to cause that huge amount of fury?
I think it would just be a social role.
Oh.
Conversation.
Yeah, I think you're just making conversation at that point.
Oh, I definitely flatter them when I'm making conversation with them.
Clearly.
I mean, you're in direct competition at the moment with beauty.
Can't. That is one thing that I cannot outcompete is beauty itself.
So you're doing charm plus
Fascinate.
graces?
I was gonna, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I'll let you do fascinate. 5 dice
Thanks.
plus a master die.
Should really turn on a light. So I have the option of going for 3 8s or 2 10s.
This is a case where height is degree of success, width is
Speed.
Rapidity
Okay,
of
so
success.
I'm just gonna go for 2 10s.
Okay. Out of curiosity and for flavor, what type of tutelary spirit or spirits are you addressing?
I'm gonna talk to the trees, and I'm gonna say...
Okay.
The Lorax
Yes.
responds.
I'll say, yeah.
The Sousa state soothes us.
It was a really good hug earlier. You all are just the most beautiful trees that I've ever seen. I felt some fury here long ago, and it's hard to imagine with your current tranquility. What happened?
One of the tutelary spirits in your shot that seems to you to be oldest responds with a sort of lamenting shrug, as the meaning that you get is, "Oh, we wish we knew, but it was well before our time." And you get the feeling that that's saying something. This particular tree spirit might be millennia old.
Do you know where we could go to find more information? We're already heading towards a rift, a hidden path.
Mm-hmm. The spirit seems uncertain, but responds in a sort of questioning tone that you could try within.
Oh, within myself?
The answer's we're within you all along.
Within is the friends we made along the way.
When you ask within yourself, the spirit responds in the negative. No. Within.
You are magnificent. Could you be more specific? Within the woods, within the rifts, the hidden paths?
Exactly.
Ah, okay. So we are on the right track. Thank you so much for your time.
The tree spirit sort of gives you the tree spirit equivalent of one of these little flirtatious waves. And then goes still again.
Just lovely how you reach for the sun with your leaves. Yeah, I'm walking.
How has Beauty reacted to this flattery of trees?
One of the lower hanging branches your face as you proceed.
Sadly, this is not the first time I've been hit on by a tree. No,
Nor will it be the last.
Adeliova is much more engaged in the conversation that they're having with you, Romnet, and does not particularly respond to anything that Lissa is doing here.
Okay.
After a time, unless anybody has anything else that they particularly want to bring up or cover.
One thing, actually. So as we walk, I sort of flex my perception of my domain and see if that sort of elasticity of time that we discussed last time is different in different parts of the Godswoods.
Interesting. Kinda. The best analogy that I can think of for it as you perceive it is gravity, where, the further into the Godswoods you go, the more you are affected by it. The force itself is constant, but, your relation to it can change.
Okay. Do I feel it more acutely as we go deeper into the woods?
Yes.
Am I aware of it increasing, or not it increasing, but my proximity to the center of it becoming
Okay, let me,
closer?
Before I give you more of an answer there, let me have you roll something here. Sense plus direction, 6 dice.
Okay.
This might be the first time we've rolled this particular combination in this campaign.
I think
I was
this might be
gonna
the first
say,
time that we've rolled
Mhm.
direction.
Yeah.
That might be true, yeah. All right.
Which
Here comes a multitude of dice.
is one of the 2 sense skills that I have no points in.
I got 2 9s.
All right.
Nice.
So you are at first thinking of it as you get deeper into the Godswoods, but you realize that is actually insufficiently two-dimensional. Because there is maybe a sort of topographical difference in how strong this temporal force pulls on you at different places along the ground within the Godswoods, but the strongest point is actually also underground.
Within.
I say some version of this. I say, hey, maybe by within, it means, they mean, we mean, it is.
I mean, that's
Below.
where rocks tend to be.
True enough. I look at you as though this is the most profound thing anyone's ever said. And it's not. There's nothing sarcastic in it. It's...
Can
Just the
you
truth.
get a lead on exactly where within?
It's a good question. Can I sound for where the center of the phenomenon is by noticing where the tempo changes?
With 2 9s and your domain is 2. So the Godswoods are long. They're sort of wider than they are tall. Maybe think of like a north being at the top on a map. And as far as you can tell, the center of this temporal gravity would be like a little off-center east to west and a little off-center north to south, such that it was like maybe southwest a little bit of the sort of like line that the road draws, through the woods. Now, of course, the road actually, has a lot of turns and twists and stuff in it, but if you were to like take the point where it exits the wood, the point where it enters the wood, and draw that line between those 2 points, the sort of center of time would be a little southwest of that line and down some amount away. Not entirely clear to you. What is clear to you is that currently from that line you are actually moving kind of northwesterly through the Godswoods. So you are not heading toward it.
Okay, I mean, I convey that. Unhelpful though it may be, or less than definitive as it may be.
We'll go there next, perhaps, because what we shouldn't do is
Hey,
split
Adam.
up.
Mm-hmm.
While we're on the subject of divinations and locations, where's the biggest murder nearby?
Interesting. So, when you are doing this divination, at what level is this miracle?
Biggest Silfrey.
All right, lesser divination with 2 penetration.
Yeah. What is the biggest murder here?
The answer that you get back is immediate and definitive, and it is essentially an image of Thoralda's corpse, as it was when you found it, not as you left it.
Sort of what I figured would be the case, but much less interesting than I was hoping.
At least we can rule out the overgod being murdered.
I guess we don't, even if the overgod is no longer extant, we don't know that it was murder necessarily. That was a thought out loud.
Feel free to nominate any further discussion, but there are hours in this walk from the road to this nearest aperture. At this point, and at the pace that you're maintaining, sort of west northwest of the line of the road across the Godswoods. So if there is anything that you wish to cover, you can.
In very Terry Pratchett fashion, I will ask my estate, how would you murder a divine rock? Mentally specifying the overgod.
Sure. And this is a lesser divination with 2 penetration. You wouldn't.
Is this... Do I get the sense that this is a question that would have a better or bigger answer, either with more penetration or a bigger divination?
I don't think that's a question I can really answer. It's not part of what you get from your estate, and this is the sort of thing that can maybe require experimentation, especially for a new nobilis.
Major divinations are 5?
Major divinations are level 5, yes.
Okay.
I will say that just like one of the things that occurs to you here is that you may be running into a problem of definitions. Yes, the Overgod was like a mind that has since ended, but also if you're asking about a rock, it's not alive. There might be a problem of semantics here. But it could also just be that that murder isn't really an option for such an entity.
Sure. Okay.
By the time your party arrives at the aperture that Romnet is leading you to, it is after sunrise, though the light changes less than you are used to because of the thick canopy. It is clearly lighter, but, still dim. When you come to a clearing with a slightly lower average elevation than the ground around it, full of a variety of flowers, including those silvery flowers that can be found in Fermata. Now, Romnet, you will recognize this as something of a twin to the larger aperture that you have already explored.
Been through, yeah.
It is not really possible from a ground level human perspective to tell if it is truly symmetrical, but it seems of a type.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any tutelary spirits around the flowers?
Yes, each individual plant has its own tutelary spirit that exactly resembles the plant.
I am going to do my shtick again with the plants.
Mhm.
No. Admire their blossoms and tell them that they are my favorite flower.
Tell them that they're pretty and
My favorite flower, and I just think that they look lovely, and it's so nice to see them thriving here in their natural environment. How are they both here in the Godswood and also where I come from in Fermata?
Hey, gorgeous, you've been in my dreams. Imagine meeting you here.
More or less.
Charm plus Fascinate is 5 plus a master die for you.
Highest I got on that one was 2 7s.
All right. So, the tutelary spirit of the flowers that you talk to expresses confusion at the question. These are flowers that exist in relative darkness. And yes, this may be a clearing, but Godswoods are dark. They belong here.
You have some cousins in Fermata too. Do they belong in a place? It is a place of darkness, but it's, well, I kind of trail off remembering what we recently learned about the nature of Fermata and say, you're also sometimes in swamps and other dark places?
Well, you know, you can have a lot of fun in the dark. This is the first time a flower has ever winked at you.
I wink back and say, you can. And then just kind of say, great conversation, and then
in which Lissa is flustered by a flower.
There's been a lot of plants this session that have been thirsty for Lissa as much as they need water.
You are the one who keeps using Fascinate on plants. I will not take responsibility for this.
I do.
You bring it on yourself.
I did not mean
Flirting
to
like that, to be clear, not dressing like that.
That previous comment was not necessarily a complaint.
Fair enough. So, go ahead.
Point of order.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a tutelary spirit of the gap, void, whatever?
No.
I'll ask the tutelary spirit of the flowers what it knows about the gap.
Interesting. What combination of stat and skill are you using to pose this question?
Oh, probably charm plus fascinate.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be fun if it could be like charm plus lore. As I'm trying to describe to the flower, you know, the nature of the thing and ask their, you know, what it knows about this thing.
If you were talking to, like, a hermit of the woods, I would say you could use charm plus lore. But since you're talking to a tutelary spirit of a flower, you're probably going to be using graces, which means you're going to be using fascinate. So 3 plus a master die.
Yep. So that is 3 5s becomes 4 7s.
Goodness. So the tutelary spirit expresses confusion about your question. It doesn't seem to know what you're asking it, but it does remark that this is a very good place for growing. Whatever is in the ground here is extremely fertile.
I thank it for its response.
It gives you one of these little finger waggle waves.
Your charm is rubbing off on the rest of us,
Yes.
Lissa.
You did take a skill that uses fascinate instead of graces, so.
Oh, no, I know.
Or, sorry, an advantage, not a skill. My
Indeed.
bad.
I plop myself down among the flowers and listen for the tempo of their sway and their growth, and then I pluck the lute in something that relates to that. Obviously, it's faster than the growth of flowers, but it's exactly, let's say, 1,000 times faster. I resonate with them, and I see what they say back.
Roll me a command plus perform. That's an expert die plus 6 dice, so go ahead and set your expert die and then roll your perform.
I'll set that expert die to 6 in the hope that we add to the count.
I genuinely don't think you've set it to anything else at any point, so...
You know,
Watch it actually roll. Watch Drew actually roll 3 6s, and then it becomes 4.
Yeah.
that would be the deepest irony.
Yeah.
That would be the end of a Twilight Zone episode. Yes. There was time now. That is actually 3 7s.
Fascinating. So yeah, you accompany the natural rhythms of this place. During all of this, while Romnet and Lissa have been communing
Touching
with
grass.
spirits, and Leorian goes,
As it were.
and Leorian goes to accompany grass.
What have Truth and Beauty been doing?
Truth has been standing kind of at the edge of the clearing, but Adeliova has walked toward the middle of it, saying, "This is the place, isn't it?" Oh,
Yes.
Fascinating. It feels ancient, and it is sublime in its beauty. I feel a connection here. And close to the middle of the clearing, they sit down. Just kneel, sit on the backs of their legs.
Where are they relative to my view of the hidden path?
Close to its center, but not exactly on center. Adeliova sort of angles their head up to look at the sky. Those stars that Romnet you observed were not your own last time. And begins to hum tunelessly but beautifully, and seems to sort of tune out from the world around them.
I'm going to go sit with them.
I will take the opportunity to ask Truth how long they have been in the Nobilis.
Truth says, "Oh, well, a while now. Probably 60 years. I'm sure I could divine for the answer, but
That is not necessary. I would not seek to strain your resources
thanks.
for trivialities.
It's been a little while. It's been a little while. How about you? I mean, I know I could figure it out, but it's not really polite.
What am I up to? 3 weeks, Adam? 2?
Probably closer to 2.
About 2 weeks.
Oh, you're new. Well, welcome, and you seem to be handling it really, really well.
I have been in the company of, well, one of my compatriots for some time.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that makes it
The
a
other
little
is
easier.
also new. There are
Ish.
complications.
Right. Nothing's
Oh.
ever easy, right?
No, things generally do not appear to be easy or kind among divinities.
Truth makes that little sort of breathy laugh, looking kind of off and to one side, and then seemingly to themselves says, "Truth resists simplicity."
Of course.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to say that out loud. What's... Again, I imagine that in a minute, Adleova will ask me to divine it, but what is this place?
I don't know. To the best of my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, it's a gap in reality, or, something related to, I suspect, the passing of the prior overgod.
Truth nods. I'm assuming here that Leorian is continuing to accompany the nature of this clearing.
Absolutely. My math is off, by the way, which is perfect. I think if I'm going 1,000 times what a flower takes to grow, I'm going about 0.1 beats per minute. So I strum and I wait a painfully long time and I strum again. And I wait to see if the flowers react.
They don't seem to, but it would also be hard for you to tell. Lissa, you and Adleova are sort of sitting near the middle of this clearing and looking up at the sky. It's beautiful and serene, but you're not sure that anything is happening. Ramnet, you watch as Truth sort of looks around, and you can actually, this close, detect it when they use some of their power to divine the truth of this place. And they sort of stagger a little bit and put a hand on your shoulder to sort of steady themselves, and then look at you directly, making eye contact, one of the very few times that they've done so, and seeming a little bit alarmed and speaking somewhat breathlessly, they go, "Eye socket." And that's where we'll end our session.
Yeah, man.
How many of these clearings are there again?
8.
Damn it.
What?
You just said eye socket and then told me that there are 8 of the clearings.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
2 eye sockets, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth, and then the base of the neck.
Mm.
Which also has eyes.
Everyone can get a mortal experience point for this session.
God damn it, Drew.
And that's gonna do it for us this time. Thanks for joining us. I do hope that our players and listeners enjoyed this brooding session as much as I did, and that everybody will join us again next time. If you're hearing us now, then you probably know where to listen to this, but we can be found almost any place one can listen to podcasts, as well as on the wider web at dicepunks.com and on Twitter as @dicepunks. With that, I think we're ready to say farewell. Say goodbye to the kind folks at home, players.
Thanks for listening. And if you can meet Truth, it's worth the effort. And if you can vibe with a flower, it's worth the time.
Thanks for listening, everyone. I care deeply about you, so remember to take the time to go and touch some grass.
Damn it, you stole my line.
Is it stealing if I said it first? Twice?
You absconded with my plan, then.
Sure.
Thanks for listening, folks. And if you find yourself confronted with a beauty you know not to be true. Throw them into a void.
And as the poet once said, rips your heart out, then it kicks your head in. Would you give him one more chance? Try and see the beauty in this world. Thank you, dear listeners, for tuning in, and stick around through the admin stuff for a line from Lissa. Real quick, this episode was posted on the 15th of October, 2022, so our next episode will be a Halloween one-shot, GM'd by me, which I'm pretty excited about. We'll return to Nightfall for episode 35 on the 15th of November. The songs in this episode, Theme of the Dice Punks in his acoustic version, were written and recorded by the Viscount of Tempo in his element, Drew. Cover art is by Joanne, who's appeared on the podcast now and again. Check out her work around the internet where she goes by Anything Sews. Site design and graphics for DicePunks.com are by Robin, the player behind Lissa, the Nobilis of Fury. Rain and the one-roll engine it runs on were created by Greg Stolze, whose work can be found in a lot of places, but try gregstolze.com. Nobilis was created by Jenna Caterin Moran and can be found alongside much of her other really intriguing work from all over the place at afarandsunlessland.wordpress.com. Links to both systems and authors can be found on the Punk Grimoire section of our website, dicepunks.com. Thank you so much for listening. If you liked what you heard, that's reward enough on its own, but if you're so inclined, you can help us out by rating and reviewing us wherever you listen to us, telling your friends who you think would like us to give us a listen, and even by heading over to our Patreon at patreon.com/dicepunks. There are fun rewards there available to backers, including a patron-only Discord and access to the Dice Peaks After Show for episodes 1 and following. Regardless, we hope you'll tune in again, and until then, remember, subtlety is for cowards.
I'm not sure what it is about rings that I find so compelling. Perhaps it's an act of defiance against my family's wish that I marry, and marry well. Or maybe it's the symbolism of the thing, a small infinity of metal wrapped around your finger, fluid, serpentine shapes formed out of hard metal eating itself. What I like the most about creating rings is that they truly force you to listen to what the metal and the tools are telling you. Fail to do so, and there'll be an unsightly blemish of a soldering line, breaking that illusion of an unending circle. Pouring rings with molten metal over a wax mold can be even more challenging, as you're often starting off with square shapes in the wax that must be carefully carved down into organic flowing lines. Carve without due caution, and your ring will bear the scores from your sloppy carving like scars. Carve too forcefully, and the wax will break. I like rings because they require a gentle, precise touch. I've probably made hundreds of rings over the course of my life, and not one has been a wedding or engagement ring. But that doesn't mean I'd be unwilling to wear you on my fingers.